morning to you, our dear viewers, right here on Luntha TV. It's yet another time for Press Review program, a program which comes to you at every hour over 9 every day. Today, I will be taking you through the publications of the nation and the Daily Times. Just a reminder that we only take a few stories that are appearing in the publications and part of those stories. So for you to get more of what's in the papers, both papers are going at 1,000 Malawi kwacha. You'll be with me, Adenafe Perry, and I'm joined with a colleague,
Alice Chizombe.
You may start on what's on the front page of the Daily Times.
Okay, the Daily Times on the front page, the headline leads mixed views on SADC chairmanship gains. Part of the story leads political, economic, and social commentators have given mixed reactions on whether Malawi has benefited from the chairmanship of the Southern African Development Community SADC. President Lazarus Chakwera is today expected to hand over the SADC mantle to Democratic Republic of Congo leader Felix Tshisekedi during the 42nd Ordinary SADC meeting of heads of state and government in Kinshasa.
Alright, still, oh, you want to say something about that?
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you, how have Malawi benefited from the chairmanship? Have we? How
What
have
is
we
it that Malawi has
benefited?
achieved?
How have we benefited? Have we benefited anything?
Well, partly I can say yeah, but not to full expectations of what maybe Malawians out there were expecting. Like, okay, being this chairing the SADC region, we were supposed to, achieve more. But partly I think the time that our president was the chairman of the SADC leadership, we could see a lot of agreements have been made talking about infrastructure, road development. We've been able to get to the agreement with our friends of Mozambique to say, okay, is it, I can't necessarily remember the name of the road, but I think it's because of the leadership itself, because of the chairman itself, that we were able to bag that deal. So I think in terms of development, especially the road infrastructure,
That's the only thing that we can point at.
not like the only thing we can point at,
What
but
are the
I can
tangible
say,
developments that Malawi have gained from the chairmanship of the president or being the SADC chairman?
we'll evaluate about that and we'll come back. The front page of the Nation newspaper, we have a parties warned on elections. It has a subheadline which says, "Have clear agenda, don't take voters for granted," analysts say. Partly the story says political analysts have called on political parties in the country to draw lessons from Kenyan elections to have clear agendas and stop taking voters for granted if they are to remain relevant during elections. University of Malawi political scientists Boniface Dulani and Nick Chiseman, a professor of democracy at the University of Birmingham in England, expressed the sentiments in separate response to the Nation inquiry on lessons Malawi can draw from Kenya, where former Vice President William Ruto was declared winner of last Tuesday's general elections. I think this one, the elections of Kenya, I mean, if we were following, I was following, a lot of things, a lot of lessons can be learned from there.
Exactly.
Like this one to say, don't take voters for granted. Sometimes you think that because they are voters, they don't have much powers as you do. That's what they think, but we have much more powers. Because if we decide not to
show up and vote,
you won't win, or you won't go to the other level. So I think a lot of lessons can be drawn, and even the division of the commissioners itself, there were 7 and 3 of them were like, okay, we won't be part of these results. I think whoever wants to take it up and announce it, they can. So you would wonder to say, why would they do that? And I don't know here, I remember it was the late they remind me the name of that late make
no.
It was, I think, the 2019 or 21 elections. After he announced, he started crying, bursting in tears. So you question those moments, you question those situations to say, okay, what really happened there? So, I mean, these elections as well, Malawians, let's learn something. I don't know what you have to say about it.
You tend to ask that, is there any credibility about the results?
Why?
Results?
Why would you say, I don't want to announce these results, and you being the chairman?
And then you sideline yourself and think, I'm not part of it.
Oh, wow.
Okay, moving on the second page of the Daily Times, top story. The headline leads Monaveka out on bail. Part of the story leads senior resident magistrate Wanangwa Nyirenda yesterday released on bail former Minister of Finance Joseph Monaveka following his arrest on the same day by the Anti-Corruption Bureau. Monaveka is alleged to have been involved in the suspect irregular procurement of uniforms and other equipment for the Malawi prison services. This arrest comes 8 months after he was also nabbed in relation to suspected forex misreporting to the International Monetary Fund by the Reserve Bank of Malawi. Okay. It seems as if these now top government officials, they're just coming in and out of the courts.
That's why they say prisons are for poor people. You find somebody who got money, you get arrested today. Even before you get to get into a cell, your bail is ready.
It's ready, and then they tend to do it over and over again. They will tend to do the illegal things over and over again with the form, knowing that if we go there, we're going to come out in a day or so.
I think it's high time these bails start also having conditions to say, okay, for these cases, no bail granted. Maybe you can get a bail, maybe after a week, a week in prison.
Just so that you test how prison is like.
Yes, why should someone who just stole a chicken have a tough time there because they don't have...
I don't know. Corruption at its
shouldn't
best, I would say. Yeah. Because even if you talk about this other case, the Musa case, this 19-year-old boy, he was caught with chamber and stuff.
Yeah.
He was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. And then this other Rwanda, is it a Rwanda nation? He was also found in possession of chamber, and then he was just given a bail. He was told to pay 100,000 and then he is free.
Chalete, money talks.
Money talks?
Yes.
And there's a saying, they say, when money talks, humanity listens, bows. Anyways.
It does bow down. Alright, here on the third page we have World Bank protests the 14 billion kwacha ICT contract. Partly the story says that the World Bank has protested the Malawi government's decision to cancel and relaunch a 14 billion kwacha procurement process of a telecommunication connectivity contract funded by the banks alone. The contract under the Digital Malawi Program Phase 1 was awarded to 2 local private companies last month. However, according to the World Bank Ministry of Information and Digitization, requested the contract to be cancelled and that the procurement process be relaunched to have it awarded to the Electricity Supply Corporation of Malawi, ESCOM. I don't know, but why cancelling? I mean, you already found private companies to go about this, and then you're cancelling and then giving it to somebody. Why? I mean, why didn't you propose that in the first place?
These countries...
And Darren, these, you can't just be awarded a contract.
No.
You need to bid for it, see how they need to look at how eligible you are to get that contract.
The qualities, yes.
Where was ESCOM? And maybe for what reasons would they give it to ESCOM?
I don't know.
Questions left unanswered.
Maybe our viewers will find patience to that. Let's leave it to them, because this country will be talking about the same issue over and over again.
I think we're just good at talking.
We're just good at bragging, not implementing things. Okay, on the third page of the Daily Times, the headline reads No Cholera Vaccines for the Second Round Campaign. Partly, Malawi does not have vaccines for the second round of the oral cholera vaccine program, targeting 2.3 million people in 9 hotspot districts of Sanje, Chikwawa, Palombe, Mulanje, Brantaya, Machinga, Mangoshi, Balaka, and Neno. The Ministry of Health started with 1.9 million people in Sanje, Chikwawa, Palombe, Mulanje, and Balaka, but later added Neno early this month. The ministry spokesperson, Adrian Chikumbe, said the country is still on the waiting list because the vaccines are produced on demand.
But that's another problem now. I mean, it's high time that as a country we start to establish our own manufacturing companies for vaccines and medicines. I was really impressed to hear that it's Kamuzu College, not Kamuzu College of Nursing, but Kamuzu University of Health Sciences are planning to have a plant of manufacturing the medicines here. I think that will be very good. And even for the same thing about vaccines, if we can adopt that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you need to be on the waiting list
to get it done.
And for you to get it, it's according to demand. Say, how much do you want? If you need 10,000, somebody says we need 1 million. They'll go for that because there's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you definitely be, at the bottom of the list. It's a high time that as a country, institutions, we start to be establishing these industries, these manufacturing companies.
Yeah.
We don't have to suffer. Mbali zonse zonse. Tisamafe mbali zonse zonse at least. Exactly.
Yeah, and I suppose the Kuhe Skudi Afuna Zvanga maybe to produce Kabina Zvanga manufacture some of the drugs Momono. It's going to help our country economically as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will save funds.
Yes.
Because for you to buy those drugs from abroad, it means you're selling now the currency. Like you are buying their currency, something like that. Instead of us getting that currency into the country.
Okay.
Alright, here on the fourth page we have Chokora removes Nachipanti, 21 others from death row. I don't know how many people out there remember Nachipanti, but in 2010, 2009, he made history.
Oh yeah, it was on top of every newspaper.
Yes. Partly the story says President Lazarus Chakwera has commuted the death sentence for Jack Bandawe, commonly referred to as Nachipanti, to life imprisonment almost 12 years after the High Court in Blantyre convicted and sentenced him for murder. Bandawe, alongside 21 other prisoners on death row, had their penalties commuted to life sentences on July 4, 2022 under the Presidential Clemency Case number 17 of 2022. Minister of Justice Titus Mvalo, who is also chairperson of the Advisory Committee on Pardon, yesterday confirmed to the nation that the President made the decision following his committee's proposal. Well, it's a good news for these 22 people, including Nachipanti, that they will no longer be on death row. I mean, you won't get killed.
You just serve. You spend the rest of your life in the.
For a minute before I read the story, I thought he's coming out.
You started trembling.
Trembling, but then angry as well. He really shook the country that time. And for him, even hearing the name, even if you were to meet him now, if he were to tell you, like, people could tell you he's a changed man,
you won't believe. You maintain your distance.
The insecurity that he planted in us, in the people, I don't think it can easily be erased, Alright, let's move on. Let's move on.
Okay, Another story here. I think this should be a last local story here. The headline is CFSC's calls for hastening of development projects. Part of the story, Leeds Center for Social Concern has called on authorities to ensure that government projects are completed in time. CFSC Programs Officer responsible for economic justice, Bernard Mpepo, said this when he toured Palombe District Hospital, which is 3 years behind schedule. He said construction works of the hospital, which started in 2017 and were supposed to be completed in 2019, should act as a lesson to government on the need to fast track and complete development projects in the country in time.
All right, now we may move on to some business news. Here we have a commission update on tobacco output target. The sub-headline says as next year's leaf target set at 140 million kg. Partly the story says market regulator Tobacco Commission TC says it is upbeat of surpassing the targeted 140 million kilograms of tobacco next year and has to date registered farmers to grow 30 million kgs. TC's optimism comes against the backdrop of tobacco farmers' failure to meet last season's target of 100 million kg, having only produced 86 million kg. Speaking on Monday when the Minister of Agriculture, Lobin Lowe, visited TC offices in Mzuzu to appreciate registration and licensing of tobacco farmers, TC Chief Executive Officer Joseph Chidanti Malunga said the registration process, which started on June 6 and is expected to end on September 30, has now picked up.
Okay.
Tobacco.
The country.
Yeah, I mean, maybe one thing that also drives the farmers back is the issue of money.
Yeah.
How much their leaf is being bought, how much they're selling it. Because usually it depends on how much the buyer is willing to pay you, not you setting the price. That's the problem, of which, it's supposed to go that way depending on the quality of your leaf. But we need to consider, to put into considerations how much the farmer has put in that tobacco for that tobacco to reach that point. How much do they invest in? How much do they pump in? So if they be having these backdrops, they also need to look at into those issues and see how possibly they can address them. Yeah.
Okay, here on the business segment, I have two stories. The first one, the headline reads, Lakeshore Meat Ban cost films 2 billion kwacha. Accommodation and hospitality outlets operating in Lakeshore District have lost an estimated 2 billion since the government imposed a ban on Lakeshore conferences. Figures from the Malawi Tourism Council (MCT) show. Further, the MTC indicates that about 400 jobs are under threat, with some institutions already shedding off employees.
I mean, as much as it is benefiting the government to say they won't be spending a lot, but those people were also, it was also some sort of business opportunity.
It was a money outrage.
Yeah, so I mean, the ban, now you can see that it's having that pinch on people's lives. I mean, it has already been said there, like some people have already been,
like almost 400 people are on the verge of losing their jobs.
400, that's a lot, and they have families.
They have families to feed. They have children. They also have bills to settle.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I think the ban itself was there maybe to help to discipline our officials.
Yes.
Yeah, but then if we look at it on the other side, it's not doing well.
I think it should just be once in a while. Alright, here we have cannabis growers move to raise a 9.4 million kwacha license fee. Partly the story says about 536 log farmers have formed a Luntha cooperative in a bid to raise 9.4 million kwacha for medicinal hemp license, which they argue is prohibitive. The cooperative draws its members from Kasongo and Mzimba districts, according to its chairperson Frecha Nyurango. In an interview on Friday, he said they poured financial resources together after not seeing prohibitive license fee for growing medicinal hemp. He said so far they have raised about 70 million kwacha to grow the crop on a 1 hectare plot they are working on. The license is very expensive. I don't know, maybe they just want for some of us not to go into the business.
Yeah, because they know there is a lot of money that's
It's not for everyone.
It's not for
We
everyone.
just need to accept that some businesses are not for everyone.
And just for those people on top of us, and we're just here to witness. Oh, okay.
Don't worry, we'll get there, we'll find you. Alright, you have another story before we move on to international?
Okay, the last one here reads Standard Bank dangles 6 million in promotion. Part of the story leads Standard Bank has unveiled a new promotion dubbed Tisanje, which is aimed at enhancing customers' uptake of digital services and products. One winner will, at the end of the competition in October, walk away with 6 million, while other customers will be winning monthly cash prizes. Alright.
Yeah, international stories. Here we have DRC hosts for the second SADC summit from today. Partly, the story says leaders of the Southern African Development Community SADC will today gather in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC capital Kinshasa, for the Bloc C for the second ordinary summit. During the two-day summit, the heads of state and government will discuss progress for the SADC region integration agenda, among others. A major highlight of the meeting will be the takeover of SADC's rotational chairmanship by DRC President Felix Tshisekedi from Malawi's Lazarus Sakara, who has headed the 16-member regional grouping since August 2021.
Okay. An international story. The headline leads Missing Kenyan election official found dead. Part of the story leads the man in charge of elections at a polling station in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, has been found dead days after his family reported him missing. Kenyan media outlets report the body of Daniel Mbolu Mushoka was found in a forest in Loitokitok at the foot of MT Mountain Kilimanjaro near the border with Tanzania. The reports quote a police boss as saying the body was identified by his two sisters. Okay.
Now we may move on to the back page for some sports news. Here we have Inter Milan beat PSG on Tabita. The sub-headline says the coach's captain says a move timely breakthrough. Partly, Italian women's football giants Inter Milan Feminile have seen off competition from French top side Paris Saint-Germain PSG to sign Malawian star Tabita Chawinga on a year-long loan deal from Chinese Super League side Wuhan Jiangxia. The Scorchers captain said in an interview from Milan that the two clubs approached our Chinese team for her services, but it was Inter, popularly known as Le Nerazzurri, who acted swiftly. I think that's very good news for Malawian are making big things. They're doing big things out there, and for big clubs like that to be approaching you, it means you've really been noticed. Yeah.
Okay. In sports, leads Silver rebuff Lawless. Part of the story leads Malawi national football team striker Stan David dream of playing abroad this season has gone up in smoke after his club Silver Strikers refused to release him on loan to Botswana Premier League side Township Lawless. David was on trial in Botswana but returned home on Sunday after the two clubs failed to reach an agreement on the player's move.
Here we have an interesting story which says Ekwendeni fire coach. The coach has been fired. Ekwendeni Hammers FC have fired head coach Edson Kadenge Mwafulira due to the team's poor performance. Ekwandena Harmers are on position 14 on the 16-team TNM Super League log table with 14 points from 18 matches. They have won only 2 games, draw 8 and lost 8 as well. The sad part about football is if the team doesn't perform well, you being the coach, your job is at risk. Yes. Okay, and I was attending this other sportsman workshop. There was an issue of players, athletes, teaming up, let's not perform well, we need to get him removed. Or the coach himself will, do his own ways, like, okay, they should lose or get something like that. So you don't really know necessarily to say what really goes, about these people. I just feel sorry for coaches, honestly, because if the team doesn't perform well, your job is at risk.
Yeah, it is at risk as hell. Okay, I don't know if the football.
The tactics that he teaches, like, okay, this game plan is not working.
I don't know, you people in sports, how do you handle football? Like, okay, koji sabanga zabu TND mutenti saswele bunova ground. Is it put some of and treat well? Doesn't treat the players well or what? Okay.
Sometimes it's just a natural hate that we don't like this coach, or sometimes he's not that friendly. Okay, if you're not friendly and a lot of people don't like you, don't expect that you stay at that place for long. Okay, especially when it comes to sports.
So the players will gang up and be like,
yes, but it's not that we are saying this is what they did. We're just giving scenarios of how these coaches get fired. Sometimes it's because of players themselves.
Yeah, the team is not performing on the ground. Yeah.
It's on them, but then you can never know. They'll never get blamed. They'll only be shouted at when the game is over. You didn't do well, you didn't do well. We taught you. We had a game plan, you were supposed to do this and you didn't do that. It's okay. At the end of the day, the performance status still falls on the coach to say, how did this team now perform like this?
Yeah, even if maybe they went to, maybe they are having a game for stadium, you hear the supporters, I'm at one award to be like, hey, come in and stuff. So, not even
it's hard
the
being
players.
a coach. It's hard being a coach. So for someone who has never been a coach, they won't necessarily understand. So those people tolerate a lot. They really do try. But anyway, it's sad news. Hopefully, better chances are waiting for him.
Better chances. Maybe
and let's just wish them the best, so that whosoever the new coach that they'll get, he or she should help them perform better. But also, it's on them.
Yeah, if they want their team,
you may end up firing, I don't know, hundreds of coaches. But sometimes if you're not performing well on your own,
it's you. It's on you. Yes. Yeah.
Let's move on to the arts and the culture section. Here we have a new beauty competition introduced. Are you still 18? No. I was about to get you registered into this one because it's a new thing and I love it. I'm so obsessed with it. Like Miss Teen Malawi Beauty Pageant has been introduced to focus on youth empowerment and entrepreneurship, organizers have said. In an interview, lead organizer of the event, Chimwemwe Bulea, said the contest is designed to identify young women in the country who epitomize the key qualities of leadership, talent, motivation, and celebration of beauty, diversity, and womanhood. Bulea said the pageant is different from other contests as it deals with young adults that need to be molded into the right direction. I love it.
Should I get you registered?
Am I 18?
Let them. They should decide. Maybe they should give me the answer.
No, I'm not 18, so I wouldn't try. I would just be supporting these young ladies. Young adults. I know we're also young adults, but these youngest.
The youngest.
Yes, they teens.
Sweet 16s.
But it's really nice, Malawi looking at establishment of taking up new initiatives. Empowering young girls. I mean, if we start empowering them as young as they are growing up, I mean, we won't be having these problems, you know. So, it's a thumbs up to them, and I'll fully support this.
You have it. You have a kid sister, right?
I know.
Good, I'll let you start then.
You also do.
She's
All
so
right, let's
young.
move on then.
Alright, moving on the arts and culture. Here leads Chakwera meets Daliso. Part of the story, leads Presidential Press Secretary Anthony Kasunda said yesterday that President Lazarus Chakwera's meeting with United Kingdom-based comedian Daliso Chaponda on Monday demonstrates his passion and love for the creative sector. Kasunda said Chakwera believes that the country is full of artistic talent around and that the creative industry needs to be developed. The president is passionate about developing the creative sector with major investment, and his meeting with Daliso Chaponda demonstrates his openness to freedom of artistic expression and his support for all Malawians who are making Malawian art and creativity attractive and marketable to the world.
And here we have physics download tackle women's confidence in Chanyo. Musicians, physics and Danlu have proved that social media influencers do influence language and trends with their new song Chanyo, a phrase made popular by controversial cleric prophet Austin Liabunya. The two artists said in an interview they decided to title their song Chanyo after realizing that the phrase is being popularly used on the streets to refer to anything that is very good. Prophet Liabunya.
Prophet Liabunya, that's
giving artists concepts, giving people concepts.
Yeah, and Janyo. You.
Meaning, so
Meaning
like,
Palace
today you're looking one year and you're looking good. I mean the language tribe itself. But then you had this other story about Lulu and Pixie being listed as the Malawi 2063 champs. No, it's not like no. What?
Yeah.
My eyes were just sharp.
Alright, the headline leads Pixie, Lulu listed Malawi 2063 champs. Part of the story leads musician Lulu and Pixie have been listed in the first group of Malawi 2063 and intergenerational development champions. Pixie and Lulu have been listed as Malawi 2063 popularization champions. The list also has Papal, a social media influencer and a co-founder of FACT, who has been named as Malawi 2063 Mindset Change Champion. The other names on the list include Charles Ulaya, a social media influencer, a banker as Malawi 2063 Mindset Change Champion, and Professor Adres Malata Malawi 2063 Human Capital Development Champion, who is the Vice Chancellor of Malawi University of Science and Technology. Must. Should I go on?
No.
Should I go on?
That makes it wow, being listed on the Malawi 2063 champs, congratulations. I was about to say guys, but then I remember we have a professor in there. Congratulations to everybody who's been listed there. And that was
up to my best media personality, Pempero.
I know
Mr.
you're so a
Z.
fan of him. Have you been watching Talk to Pempero? No, we'll talk about that. But that also brings us to the end of this edition of a press review program, whereby we're bringing you some of the stories that are appearing in today's publication of The Nation and also the Daily Times. Today being Wednesday, the 17th of August in the year of 2022. Thank you so much for being there and following up this program. It's been a pleasure having your company. You were with me, Alinafe Perry, and my colleague,
Palace Chizombe.
It's a good morning.
Bye.